Como se dice double standard? Huh? The carnal knowledge of a female forcible against her will. That is how the United States of America defined rape since 1927, up until 2012. It wasn't until 2012 that the FBI actually had the definition changed in the Uniform Crime Report to the following. Rape is now defined as any penetration, no matter how slight, of the vagina or anus with any body part or object, and it also includes oral penetration of any sex organ on both male and female. It wasn't until 2012 that we degenderified what rape was and realized that, oh yes, men can be raped. This is where we live, people. So in 2014, the National Victimization Crime Survey stated that 38% of all rape incidents that happen in America are against men. 38%. That is almost half. And yet, how often do you, your friends, or any television show or source of media that you take part in ever discuss male rape? When is that ever a conversation you have ever been a part of? And to go further, how often have you been a part of a conversation that does include topics on male rape, but in a joking manner? Because that's all it is in today's world. It's just a joke. The most dated bit of research you can find regarding male rape dates back to about 30 years ago. In the early 80s, incidents of male prison rape was being reported, mostly still done by guards onto prison inmates. Also something that, for some reason in general population outside of those prison walls, is still a joke. That's still a joke that we're sending men into prison and they are forcibly being raped by the people that are supposed to make sure that they are safe while being detained. This is the world we live in, people. You have to sit and pick apart everything. Because honestly, how are you going to sit and laugh at a joke about a man in prison being raped? How is that still going to be fodder for television? And they use it so frivolously that we are so numb to the idea that this happens to real people every day around the world. And honestly, the report showing the lack of men reporting rape incidents is staggering. And that is us as a society. That's our fault. We do that. We create that as a problem. Just like we're raising women to think that without makeup and men, they're nothing, we're raising men to think that unless you fit this disgusting stereotype of what an all-American man should be, you're not a man. That's so sick. We're still doing that. We're still perpetuating that. I mean, people bring up issues all the time and are constantly shot down over how America demands a masculine man and does not offer men a safe place who want to explore, enjoy, and be creative with their feminine side. All of us have a duality. All women have a masculine side, and all men have a feminine side. That is truth. That is real. This isn't new knowledge. This is knowledge that some people are so scared to admit they bury it deep down, but this is still something that's real, okay? If you're born with a penis, yes, you're a boy. Your gender is a boy if you label yourself with a gender, but you have masculine and feminine qualities within you. That is something that's true, okay? Honestly, people don't take into consideration that a developing fetus, all of us are in utero as women. We're all feminine. We all have ovaries until the testes drop. That's factual. You can't keep cherry picking what you like to hear to suit your all-American boy, football-loving, beer-drinking, truck-driving men. Not all men are like that, and thank God. Because if they were, we'd live in a boring fucking world, let me tell you that. Another thing that I was noticing that's a really weird epidemic that we do in this country. I'm not sure if it's a worldwide thing, but I, I think it's so weird. There is no way to roll the dice on a rape situation that is going to come out with an outcome that you are not judged. Because if you think about it, how we constantly treat and how we portray how we treat women with rape. If they go forward, we're constantly overcritical. We make the victim feel like they were at fault. We slut shame. Oh, you shouldn't have worn that. Oh, you were asking for it. Oh, you shouldn't have drank so much. And then if they don't go forward, we have this whole Cosby effect that we're seeing going on where we say, did it happen? Are you lying? Are you just in it for money? Is now a good time for you to try to hurt someone? We do these things to the victim. And yet, how many rapists go through the same scrutiny? I mean, shouldn't they be the ones who are immorally reprehensible? Like, shouldn't they be the people that we are focusing on their decisions and their choices? Why do we even look at the victim? Like, if the victim was naked or wore a miniskirt or took her thong off at a concert, or if a dude was, like, passed out wasted, or it was part of a hazing ritual. Like, those are all different circumstances where the victim was just there. You know? Like, we need to stop it. Like, we need to stop making the victim feel bad for choosing to live their life, really. You almost hate the victim more than the rapist in all these situations, because what you go away talking about, and it's true everywhere, is how the victim could have done something else. It's always that. And then, as I was reading into men, that's just with women. When you go into men, well, do you wonder why most rape incidents among the male community, both heterosexual and homosexual, are underreported? It's probably how we emasculate men the moment they show themselves as anything but what the all-American boy should be. The moment that they show a vulnerability, the moment that they show a softer side, the moment that they say I was hurt, the moment they cry, we villainize them and we say they're not real men. We make fun of them and we call them faggot and gay, and we compare them to women because in America, women are lesser. So every time you, and including women, if you're a woman, every time you make fun of a man for not being masculine enough, know that you're making fun of your own gender. Because you are basically saying men are better than women. Act like a man. It's just, I mean, nobody thinks this shit out. We keep teaching kids generation after generation that if you want to be a man, it's power, it's greed, it's sex. Those are the attributes that all men should crave. Women, they love to stay at home and take care of the babies and cook. This is the idea we're still feeding children. Watch any television show on primetime. Read any book that's a New York Times bestseller. Look at 50 Shades of Grey. What's that bullshit? This is the stuff we're producing. We're pumping this out into our society, and we're expecting kids to grow up with the knowledge that we have, or we're expecting kids to do better, and we are teaching them nothing. We're teaching them nothing. We're teaching them how to perpetuate something that's broken. So maybe think. The amount of men, both heterosexual and homosexual, who hide rape incidents, 10% it was saying are reported. 10%. So all of those other victims are going unreported, and that's why the suicide rate is so high. That's why male victims who do not come forward and seek counsel and get help, their suicide rate is far above any other rape victim in any category. That's the highest one. And it's also stating that when deemed forced to penetrate, by taking out the word rape and changing it with forced to penetrate, more men come forward and say that their abuser was a woman. This is all stuff that is so interesting to me because we never get a dialogue going in this country. We never talk about this stuff. We love to sell sex, but we don't like to talk sex. What the fuck is that? Like, We're gonna sexualize the pop stars coming out now, like younger and younger. We're gonna get younger and younger with how we're sexualizing kids. And you're gonna tell me we can't have honest conversations? We can't mandate that all schools across this country have a sex education program for children so that they can learn accurate and factual information. We're letting the Bible Belt control how children are raised. Is that for fucking real? Like, some of these issues that are being voted on, that are being handled around this country, they're fucking disgusting. It's something that should honestly not be voted on. If there is something where it is common sense to do it one way and not the other, you do it. How dare you sit and try to defend abstinence and education of abstinence as the proper thing to raise a child on in 2015? Turn on YouTube, please, and try to tell me where there is not a sexualized female on that screen. Please try to find one. Honestly, this is ridiculous, and yet we're raising kids to say, hey, you know what, say no to sex. But then watch all these commercials where in order to be cool and popular, you have to have your tits out. Like, yeah, this is really fucking working. Nobody's thinking. This is really frustrating. Honestly, if you're a parent, talk to your child about sex. If you're a child with questions, ask. If you can't ask your parent, ask a teacher. If you can't ask a teacher, ask anyone where you can seek advice and get your question answered in an honest manner. You're always going to run into people who laugh when it comes to sex, and that's okay. You're going to get people who take advantage of you when you talk about a sexual topic. They're going to prey on your lack of knowledge. This is reality. This is reality in the age of the internet, where people can stay hidden and be more discreet. This is a time to really teach kids how to be resourceful, how to be educated, and how to really make sure you are protecting yourself. Because honestly, the fact that we're not dealing with these rapes and the fact that we're treating victims in such an awful manner should show you that we're not handling this in the right way. We got to do something different. Something's got to change. And change is hard, but it's good. And we're going to get somewhere good with this. I'm telling you, we're getting some of these old-ass people out of the fucking lawmaking positions. Once younger people start flooding those areas, we're going to make an impact. And honestly, just make sure your voice is heard. Make sure you're talking. If you have questions, ask them. And just know that in most cases, it's defined as rape being a struggle for power using sexuality. Just knowing that, no, it can happen to a woman, it can happen to a man, they can be straight, they can be gay. A lot of male-on-male incidences that were reported do state that it is a heterosexual male preying on a young male. That is the most common. Heterosexual men. This shows you that it is a struggle for power. It has nothing to do with sexual orientation. Sometimes it does, but these are very situational. And start taking time to listen to people on an individual basis with situational circumstances and what happened. That's how we need to start taking care of these situations. Overgeneralizing is definitely not the answer. So please look into the information I provided. Definitely start a conversation. If you have a comment, please leave it below. I would love to hear from you. And hopefully by having this conversation and others like it, we are going to get a conversation going that makes it easier to talk about this topic, especially in this country. And honestly, we need to pay attention to how the male victims of rape are treated in the conversations as well. We just need to start thinking more. If you have ever been a victim or know a victim, please help them find help. Help yourself. Know that communication and talking openly and honestly is always the best therapy, and you are not alone. You can always reach out to people online. So take care of yourselves, and I will see you tomorrow.